Let me ask you something honest before we even get started. Have you ever been around a woman, maybe someone you see often, maybe someone fairly new in your life, and something just felt different? Not in a way you could explain out loud, not in a way you could take a screenshot of and send to your friends. Just this quiet, almost electric feeling that something was happening beneath the surface of every conversation. You weren't sure enough to act on it, but you weren't imagining it either. Here's what I want you to know right now. You probably weren't imagining it. And by the time this is over, you'll understand exactly why. My name is Sophia. And what I'm about to walk you through today has nothing to do with games, manipulation tactics, or any of that surface level stuff you've already scrolled past 100 times. What this is really about is something far more fascinating. It's about the beautiful, complicated, deeply human way that attraction moves through a person when they're trying their hardest to hold it still. Because here's what nobody talks about. Attraction is not a decision. A woman doesn't sit down one morning and choose to feel something for someone. It happens before logic can catch it. And when she's not ready to face it, when she's scared or unsure or protecting herself, she will try to contain it. She will try to manage it. She will do everything in her power to make sure that it doesn't show. But it always does. And I'm going to show you exactly where to look. Signal number 1, your name lives in conversations you were never part of. Picture this. You're meeting her friends for the first time, or maybe her sister, or a coworker of hers. And before you've even finished introducing yourself, they already know something about you. A story you told her, a joke you made, something you said weeks ago in a moment you don't even remember that clearly. That isn't a coincidence. That is evidence. When a woman is genuinely attracted to someone and is trying to hide it, one of the places it leaks out most naturally is conversation. She's not sitting down and intentionally telling people about you, but you're on her mind so consistently, so persistently, that you naturally find your way into what she says. You're taking up emotional real estate, and the overflow spills into her everyday conversations before she even realizes it's happening. Think about it from your own experience. When something really excites you, a new idea, a song you can't stop playing, something funny that happened, it comes up when you're talking to people. You're not trying to bring it up. It just does. That's what you are to her. And here's what this tells you. She's not just casually aware of you. She's thinking about you when you're not there. She's replaying moments. She's keeping track. And all of that processing is quietly, involuntarily building up and finding its way out through the people she trusts. So what do you do with that? You don't confront it. You don't make it a thing. You just keep showing up as yourself and giving her more moments worth thinking about. Signal number 2, she teases you in a way that only works if she cares. There's teasing, and then there's that kind of teasing. Regular teasing is casual, generic, the kind anyone throws around in a group. But when a woman is attracted to you and keeping it carefully hidden, her teasing becomes something else entirely. It becomes specific. It becomes personal. It targets little things about you that she would only notice if she was paying close attention. And it comes with a smile that lasts just a beat too long afterward, like she's watching to see how you take it. Here's the psychology behind it, because this is genuinely beautiful. Teasing someone you're attracted to is one of the oldest ways of creating intimacy without making a declaration. It builds a tiny private world between two people inside jokes, callbacks, moments that only have meaning to the two of you. And building that world takes effort. It takes creativity. It takes a kind of emotional investment that simply doesn't exist when someone doesn't care. Let me be completely straight with you here. Ignoring someone is the easiest thing in the world. Teasing someone, that requires attention. That requires knowing them. That requires caring enough to be playful with them specifically. If she didn't feel something, she would not bother. So when she comes at you with that particular kind of energy, your response matters more than you think. Not a big reaction, not trying to outdo her, just a slow, easy smile. Maybe a quiet shake of your head, the kind of calm that communicates everything without saying a word. That composed, unhurried response tells her more about your confidence than any comeback ever could. And confidence, genuine settled confidence, is the one thing that makes attraction impossible to keep hiding. Signal number 3, she always knows exactly where you are in the room. Here's one that plays out in near silence, so you have to pay attention to catch it. You walk into a space where she already is. You don't go straight to her. You move around, talk to other people, drift to a different part of the room. And yet, if you observe carefully, she knows. She noticed you come in. She knows when you shift positions. She clocks when you start talking to someone else. And sometimes, in those exact moments, she gets just a little bit louder or a little more animated in her own conversation, almost like something is being performed. What you're witnessing is something deeply human, the way we tune into things that matter to us without even deciding to. You cannot be that quietly, constantly aware of someone without an emotional charge behind it. That kind of ambient awareness, that tracking of where someone is without obviously staring, is not casual. It's investment that hasn't been admitted yet. The move here is subtle but powerful. Catch her eye for just a moment naturally, nothing dramatic, and then look away first. Not nervously, not quickly, just calmly, like you have somewhere better to be. That single act communicates something that 1,000 words couldn't. I noticed you too, and I'm not rattled by it. Then, when you do eventually make your way over, keep it completely natural. Reference something happening right there in the room. Ask her something genuine. Don't make the tension the topic. Let it live underneath the conversation. Unspoken, but felt by both of you. That unspoken understanding, that's where real attraction breathes. Signal number 4. Watch how she eats when you're around, I know. Bear with me on this one, because once you understand the psychology, you'll never unsee it. There's a well-documented phenomenon in behavioral psychology. People unconsciously modify how they eat when they're around someone they want to impress or are attracted to. For women specifically, this often shows up as eating less, eating more slowly, choosing lighter options, and being noticeably more careful and self-conscious about the whole experience. And here's the critical part: she is not doing this on purpose. She is not thinking about it. There's no moment where she looks at her plate and decides to slow down. It happens automatically, driven by some deep part of her that wants to appear composed and put together in your presence. She's managing her image without realizing she's doing it. Now contrast that with how she eats around someone she has no feelings for, completely naturally, no second guessing, because that person doesn't activate anything in her that needs managing. So if you're at a meal together and she seems oddly careful, picking at her food, taking small bites, being weirdly precise about things, that's not disinterest in the food. That's interest in you showing up in the last place you'd ever think to look. Your job in that moment isn't to point it out. It's to do the opposite. Make her laugh. Make her forget to perform. Because the second she's genuinely laughing and genuinely present, she stops monitoring herself and just is in that version of her. The unguarded, relaxed, fully present version is the one that will actually decide if something real is going to happen between you. The food was never the point. You are. Signal number 5. Her denial comes too fast to be real. This might be the most psychologically revealing signal on this entire list, so I really need you to sit with this one. When someone is truly indifferent to another person, when there genuinely isn't anything there, they don't feel the need to announce it. Indifference is quiet. It doesn't defend itself. It doesn't need to. But when attraction is present, when something real is simmering beneath the surface and she's working hard to keep the lid on it, the denial often comes out fast, reflexively fast, sometimes before the question is even fully formed. Oh, he's just a friend. Before you finish the sentence, I don't see him like that. With an urgency that has nothing to do with the emotional weight of the statement. Pay attention to the speed. Pay attention to the energy behind it. Because in psychology, there's a principle at work here that's hard to argue with. The louder and faster a denial comes, the more the person is trying to convince themselves, not just you. A woman who has no feelings for someone doesn't urgently announce that she has no feelings. She just moves on. The one who is rushing to clarify, who is a little too emphatic, a little too immediate, she's in conflict. And conflict means something is there. The way you respond to this matters enormously. Don't push back. Don't try to argue her out of it. Don't get awkward or make a face. Just stay completely peacefully yourself. Because a man who doesn't need to convince anyone of his worth, who simply continues to exist confidently and comfortably, is more magnetic than anything else you could manufacture in that moment. You're not closing a case. You're just being someone it's impossible to dismiss. Signal number 6. Her body and her words are telling two completely different stories. She says she's fine. Her jaw is tight. She says she has to leave. She's been standing in that same spot for 25 minutes. She says she doesn't care. She's turned her whole body toward you. Here's something that I think is genuinely important to understand. Words are edited. Words go through filters, social awareness, self-protection, what she thinks she should say, what feels safe to admit. But the body doesn't have those filters. The body responds to emotional reality directly, without the benefit of revision. When her words and her body are running two completely different stories, believe the body every single time. Feet pointed toward you, even though she's talking to someone else, that's her body orienting toward what matters. Mirroring your posture unconsciously, that's deep rapport happening below the level of conscious thought. Finding small reasons to close the physical distance, that's proximity seeking. And it is never accidental. There's something else worth knowing here, something you can actually use. When you subtly mirror her posture, her pace, her energy, she feels understood in a way she can't quite articulate. Not because anything was said, but because something was matched. That feeling of being deeply, almost mysteriously understood, she's going to attach that feeling to you. And feelings that can't be explained are often the ones that can't be forgotten. She can manage her words. She cannot manage the feeling of being seen. Signal number 7. She remembers the things you've already forgotten. This last one is the quietest signal, and it's the most powerful. 3 months ago, in a conversation you've long since moved on from, you mentioned your favorite album. You said it once, maybe as a passing comment, certainly nothing you planned or emphasized. Last week, she brought it up. 6 weeks ago, you told a story about somewhere you traveled. You mentioned a small detail, not the headline of the story, just a small thing in the background. She referenced that detail recently, casually, like it was just part of her memory of you. I need you to understand what this means. Memory is not neutral. It is selective and deeply emotional. Our minds unconsciously prioritize and retain information about the things and the people that carry emotional significance. We don't choose what we remember, our emotions choose for us, based on what matters. When she remembers the small things, the specific things, the throwaway details that you've already forgotten you said, she is showing you exactly how much space you take up in her inner world. She is not cataloging your life intentionally. Her mind is just holding on to you because something in her has flagged you as significant. That is not something people do for someone they don't care about. That is intimacy hiding behind casual conversation. When you notice it, and you will, if you're paying attention, the most powerful response isn't to gush or make it a moment. It's to meet her quietly, warmly, reciprocate something small that you remember about her, not as a tactic, but as a genuine acknowledgement that the attentiveness goes both ways. Because in that exchange, something shifts. Nobody says anything direct. Nobody puts a name on what's happening. But both of you know that something real has just been confirmed. And that confirmation, that quiet, wordless recognition, is often the moment a connection stops needing to hide. Here's what I want to leave you with, because I think it matters more than any single signal on this list. Attraction, when it's real, does not stay still. No matter how carefully she manages it, no matter how composed she is on the surface, it moves, it leaks. It shows up in the way she talks about you to other people, in the specific way she teases you, in the way her body orients toward you without permission, in the way her memory holds on to you long after a conversation has ended. You don't have to chase these signals. You don't have to catalog them or score them. Just be the kind of person who pays attention genuinely, warmly, without desperation, and what needs to surface will surface on its own. The most attractive thing you can bring to any of these moments isn't a clever line or a perfect strategy. It's presence, confidence, the steady, settled energy of someone who knows who they are and isn't in a hurry to prove it. She's already paying attention to you. She's already remembering you. She's already talking about you to people you haven't met yet. You don't have to convince her. You just have to show up as the person she already suspects you are.